Fluttershy had always been fascinated by the beauty and tranquility of nature. She spent most of her days caring for her animal friends in the forest, listening to the birds sing and admiring the flowers and trees that surrounded her. One day, as she was tending to the garden outside her cottage, Fluttershy had an idea. She had always dreamed of being closer to nature, of being one with the trees and the earth, and so she made a decision that would change her life forever. With the help of her animal friends, Fluttershy gathered all the necessary materials to perform a magical ritual that she had read about in an ancient book. She wanted to turn herself into a tree so that she could be closer to nature. As she began the ritual, she felt a surge of energy flowing through her body. She closed her eyes and focused all her thoughts on her desire to be one with nature. Suddenly, a bright light surrounded her, and she felt herself being lifted into the air. When she opened her eyes, she realized that she had been transformed into a beautiful tree. She looked down at her roots and saw that they were firmly planted in the ground, just like any other tree. At first, Fluttershy was overwhelmed by the sensation of being a tree. She could feel the wind rustling through her leaves and the sun shining down on her branches. She could hear the birds singing and the animals scurrying around her. But as time went on, Fluttershy began to embrace her new form. She realized that being a tree was not so different from being a pony. She still had her animal friends to keep her company, and she could still watch over the forest and protect it from harm. Fluttershy had achieved her dream of being closer to nature, and she knew that she would never go back to being a pony again. For her, being a tree was the ultimate expression of her love for the natural world. As the seasons passed, Fluttershy continued to thrive as a tree. She grew taller and stronger with each passing year, and her branches provided a home for many birds and squirrels. Her roots spread deep into the earth, connecting her to the heart of the forest. Fluttershy was content with her life as a tree, but she often wondered how her friends were doing. She missed them dearly, but she knew that she could not leave her post as guardian of the forest. One day, Fluttershy sensed something was wrong. She could feel the vibrations in the earth and the whispers of the wind. She knew that danger was approaching, and she needed to act fast. Using her magical powers, Fluttershy sent a message to her animal friends, warning them of the impending threat. Together, they worked to protect the forest and its inhabitants from harm. As the danger passed, Fluttershy realized that she had a new purpose as a tree. She was not just a symbol of nature's beauty, but a protector of the forest and its inhabitants. She knew that she had made the right choice when she decided to become a tree. Years went by, and Fluttershy remained a tree, watching over the forest and its inhabitants. She was happy to be part of the natural world and knew that she had found her true calling. One day, as she basked in the warmth of the sun, she felt a strange sensation. Her branches began to tingle and her leaves rustled in excitement. She knew that something amazing was about to happen. Suddenly, a burst of light surrounded her, and she felt herself being lifted up in the air once again. When she opened her eyes, she saw that she had been transformed back into her pony form. Fluttershy looked around in awe, taking in the familiar sights and sounds of her old life. She realized that she had been given a second chance to live as a pony, but she would always remember her time as a tree. From that day on, Fluttershy continued to care for her animal friends and protect the forest, but she knew that she would always be connected to nature in a way that few others could understand. Fluttershy felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude for her experience of being a tree. She felt a deep sense of connection to the earth and all of its creatures, and she knew that this feeling would stay with her forever. As she resumed her life as a pony, Fluttershy found that she had a newfound appreciation for the natural world. She spent even more time in the forest, communing with the trees and the animals and learning from them. Over time, Fluttershy became known as a wise and compassionate pony, respected by all who knew her. She continued to use her powers to protect the forest and its inhabitants, and she never forgot the lessons she had learned as a tree. As the years went by, Fluttershy grew old and wise, and her time on Earth came to an end. But her legacy lived on in the forest she had protected, the animals she had cared for, and the ponies she had inspired. And in the hearts of those who remembered her, Fluttershy lived on as a symbol of the beauty and power of nature and the importance of caring for the earth and its creatures. In her passing, the forest that Fluttershy had protected for so long mourned her loss. The animals she had cared for gathered at her grave, leaving flowers and other offerings as a sign of their gratitude. But even in death, Fluttershy's legacy continued to live on. The forest she had protected flourished, with new trees and flowers growing in abundance. The animals that she had cared for continued to thrive, and the natural world continued to inspire awe and wonder in all who experienced it. As the years went by, stories began to circulate about a kind and gentle pony who had given up her life to protect the forest. Parents told their children about the magical tree that had once stood in the heart of the forest, and how it had transformed into a pony who had dedicated her life to protecting the natural world. And so, Fluttershy lived on in the hearts and minds of all who knew her. Her legacy continued to inspire new generations of ponies and animals to care for the earth and all its creatures, and to appreciate the beauty and power of nature. For as long as the forest stood, and as long as the animals continued to thrive, Fluttershy's memory would live on, a testament to the enduring power of love, courage, and compassion in the face of adversity. Support me on Patreon and Ko-fi, links in the description. Thanks for listening, and be sure to subscribe. Good night, every pony.